Hello everybody, it's your boy Prof Choff. We're back again with another video. This is our Ask Reddit. People who quit their jobs on the first day. What was your I am out of here moment? Okay, I've changed a decent amount of jobs when I was in the US of A. Did I quit anything on the first day? Oh, I did. I went to an interview thing for like a park attendant job. It was garbage. You stay inside of a small cabin all day, 8 hours for minimum wage, doing nothing. It's a small, hot ass cabin. You don't do anything besides do this. Zoop, zoop, bam. That's all you do. I went there. I stayed there for like 30 minutes while they were explaining to me what I need to do. And I was like, nope. And I fucked off. Never came again. Anyway, let's go. Let's see what people experienced.
On the first day. What was
mine wasn't that bad. Oh,
job working.
Before we continue, let me know about your worst job experiences on the first day that made you quit, if you have any.
For a landscape architect. Got to the job site and he asked me to dig a hole in some rocky dirt.
Okay.
I asked for a shovel. He didn't have one.
Wait.
I asked for
a
hand spade. He didn't have one. He told me to just dig the hole with my bare hands and then he drove off to another site.
Dig a hole with your bare...
Leaving me completely alone.
Sure, just spin his fucking
I dug
face.
for a little bit and then said F this
Wait,
and left.
Why did you even start doing it? How would you... Bruh.
Specified that I needed to supply my own tools. I could have, but it didn't, and I wasn't going to work for somebody that expected folks to dig through hard, rocky soil with their hands.
Bruh.
I answered an ad for a...
Even if the fucking soil is not hard, what you mean dig with your own hands?
Babysitting job. I was already working on a casual basis, but it was sporadic, so I thought some after-hours babysitting would be welcome extra cash. The couple were both in the military and proceeded to tell me that I would be staying in the spare room and looking after their 6-month-old child around the clock as well as doing the housework. I would have 1 day off every 2 weeks. They said it is cash in hand so I could sign on to the dole unemployment benefit to make up the rest of the money. I left on the spot. They wanted a live-in housemaid and nanny, not a babysitter, and they were not able to pay for one. Why they thought it was up to me to illegally collect the dole to subsidize them, I don't know.
Wow.
Had an orientation for an alarm company. Next day manager calls and says don't worry about going into the office and to meet at Planet Hollywood. They like to get to know the employees better over lunch. Next day I go into the office and another employee whom I had not met says you must be Scandal 929. I was like They responded light-skinned. Pretty boys, how the manager described me. Insane conversation. I found out no one else had ever been invited for a get-to-know-you lunch.
Alright, what the fuck?
I'm out. Which is a shame as you clearly have well-tuned internal alarms. You would have been a real asset there. Applied for a job at my longtime favorite restaurant. Celebrated my birthday there every year. Owner asks me to come in for basically a tryout. As I communicated, I was looking at other job possibilities. I come in and they just stick me on dishwashing for an hour. No biggie. Then their dishwasher doesn't show up. So the kitchen manager asks me to stay one for their lunch rush. Sire, I'll get paid for the hours. I do. Kitchen staff was nice, so I was happy to help out even though I figured I'd be taking a different job. I fill out a time card at the end of the shift and tell the manager I probably won't be back. He understands and thanks me for the help. Fast forward a couple weeks and he tells me to email the owner after I ask him if I should pick up my measly paycheck. I do. She basically tells me to F off over text.
What the fuck?
Tells me it was staging and that she told me I won't be paid. I respond that I understand that, but that I stayed an extra 3 hours which I was told I'd be paid for. She stops responding. I decide.
Bruh, they're probably, it's like 40 bucks probably. 40, 50 bucks. Why are they making such a fuss over 40, 50?
I want to be petty over the 40 bucks, so I get the Statwa Labor Department involved. Dude goes in there and makes her pay me for the hours including the first staging hour.
Good.
Couple weeks later I got my 40 bucks.
Hey, good of you. Stand up for yourself. Don't let people walk over you. Good. Fuck that bitch.
Never went back to
40
that
bucks.
restaurant. You are not petty.
Wow.
I wonder how many other people they fleeced for free labor. You would not believe what restaurants get away with. and they're so blatant about it.
What the
It's such
fuck?
an insane work culture. I'm glad I experienced it, but the thought of doing it every day makes my job being a welder now a total cakewalk.
Damn.
I was a waitress. The
Okay.
only waitress. At
Oh,
a just
God.
opened diner. The boss didn't have me sign any paperwork. Everything
Run. Listen. Unless you're illegal in that place or you're looked, if the authorities are looking for you, don't do it. Don't work without paperwork. Just don't do it.
was under the table, but that wasn't what made me quit at the end of the night. In order to get me where he wanted me to go, he would pinch my skirt at my upper thigh. Not quite the butt, but very close. And pull me around like it was a leash. Needed me in the kitchen. Rather than call me, he would come out, pinch my skirt and pull to the kitchen.
What the
Needed me
fuck?
at the cash machine. Again. Come over to wherever I was. Didn't matter if I was serving a customer.
Bro, what's
and
wrong
would
with some
grab my
people?
skirt to pull me. That act in itself made some customers uncomfortable. Mind you, one couple left an almost 50% tip in the end, but I think it was more out of pity and embarrassment on my
probably.
behalf. I was supposed to come in the next day, but I called that night and said the job wasn't for me.
Good for
I
you.
came in a couple days
The
later to
fuck?
turn in my apron and he just took a wad of cash out of his pocket and paid me then and there. God, he was creepy. I think it was a smart move to quit.
Yes.
I was hired to be
Yes,
a
it
waitress,
was.
which had a lower hourly wage due to tips.
Yeah.
The entire shift they
Stupid
had
as
me
fuck.
wash dishes in the sink, but paid me waitress wages. A few months.
Oh, that's fucked. Oh, that's fucked up. Don't do that. That's not your job. Don't do that. Hey, people need to stand up for themselves more especially in these type of environments. I mean, I've worked as a waiter. I've worked in a restaurant. I haven't worked in fucked up ones, or at least I haven't stayed in any fucked up ones before. Listen, if you let them step over you, they will do that shit. Don't do that. It's not worth it minimum wage. It's not worth it even more than that.
Later,
Don't
the
let them
restaurant
take-
was investigated for a
Jesus.
number of fraud activity.
That's fucked.
It was a small independent insurance agency in
Insurance
2006. My first day there, the owner, a true fossil, said email and
A
fax
true
were strictly
fossil.
forbidden as he only believed in communication in
Email.
person, by phone, or through mail. Left for lunch and never went back. I couldn't imagine the inefficiency I'd have dealt with had I stayed. They ultimately closed their doors, so it was definitely the right decision. I interviewed for a professional marketing assistant and got the job straight away. I was under the impression that I would be an assistant to the man I was interviewed by. When I showed up for my first day, the same waiting room I was in the previous day was full of people. I quickly learned that we were all hired, and that I would be a door-to-door salesperson selling some pretty useless sh. I spent my entire day inside a Starbucks applying for other jobs and went home. Got paid, but never went back.
Yeah, they do that. I worked for a similar thing where I would be selling knives. Cutco, I think was called the company. I don't remember the company's name. And I was supposed to go, and you're supposed to sign in. The people put their telephone, so they would call them back, be like, "Yo, did this dude go and talk to you about the knives?" So I mean, your boy just went with people I knew. I didn't do shit for most of them. Some people I showed it. Just after a week, I got my cash and was out of there. That sounds fucking bullshit.
Similar thing happened to me. I feel your pain. I applied for an event planner job, having
planner.
previously worked as a wedding planner, and got an interview with a company based in the city. Went to the interview the next day and something was off, but I couldn't figure it out. They asked me to work a trial day the day after, so I said yes. Get to the morning briefing and my trainer said we'd be working away from the office. So I'm thinking, what sort of event is it? What would I be doing? How exciting.
How
I'd
exciting.
be standing on a street corner in the rain trying to get OPS, so sign up to give to charities. What a scam.
Wow.
It was a petrol station and the manager wanted me to work for free until I had learned their computer systems to what he deemed a satisfactory extent. I agreed to do it because I needed a job, and he brought me in at 7 AM on my first day. However, he was not present to go through the training with me. So I was just standing around kind of helping out on the forecourt, but not really knowing what I should be doing. Not learning anything. After about an hour and a half without the manager showing up or anyone training me on anything, I decided that I wasn't going to continue to be taken advantage of and told the cashier to pass on the message to the manager that I had quit. Yeah, red flag. If it's not a volunteer position, such as at a charity store or an animal shelter, and they ask you to work for free,
that's bullshit.
It's never worth it.
Yeah.
Salesman
What
for
the
Kirby
fuck?
Vacuums.
Kirby
First sale
Vacuums?
call was to a single elderly woman who was supporting her son in hospital. They got us in the door by offering a free carpet clean as a demonstration. The supervisor training me pushed and pushed to make the sale until this old woman was in tears. Just as she was about to sign the paperwork, I asked if she actually wanted to vacuum and she said it was lovely but she couldn't afford it. I took the paperwork away from her and said not to worry. Outside I told the supervisor I quit, to which he replied I would have been fired anyway.
That's
No love
okay.
lost. I
Yeah.
hung around for half an hour playing on my phone to make sure the supervisor left because he was a real piece of work.
Bruh.
I got suckered into doing that when I
Jesus fucking
was
Christ.
17. Naive and desperate for a job. Biggest bunch of scumbags I have met. The guy driving the van had some kind of relationship with the girl sitting shotgun and they were arguing.
He was
loudly,
shotgunning her,
and
huh?
she just straight up jumped out of the van while it was moving. His and everyone else's reaction was we should get out of here. They wanted to just ditch this poor girl in a
Bruh.
effing random suburb an hour and a half from the city we drove out of. The only reason they picked her up is I swore to God and heaven above I would give everyone's names and addresses to the police. A few of them had paper
Bruh.
out, so they didn't like that. I had been working there for like 2 weeks at this point, but didn't go back after getting home that evening.
Yeah, good choice,
Reprehensible
bro.
garbage.
What
Actually
the
a pretty decent product, though. I wasn't the person, but I was training a new guy at a movie theater. A customer asked for extra butter.
Yo, these are some wild stories, my guy.
She was nice and normal, not a mean or rude customer, the kind I would pay to handle all day long. He
Okay.
puts the popcorn tub down, says I'm going to the bathroom, takes off his apron and walks out the front door and never came back. Maybe he shat his pants and couldn't bear the thought of returning. It was my first day at Five Guys. It was around 10:30 p.m.
I worked there. I've worked in a Five Guys. Okay, let's go, brother.
They told me it was time to clock out.
Okay.
Despite not having finished closing, I then worked until almost midnight. I did not return.
Wait,
One of my
wait. It was my. Was around? They told me it's not. Why? Oh, it was just shitty management. That's never happened to me. What? 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 The fuck?
pals had one of these clock out, keep working gigs, reported them to the wage and hour division.
Yeah, that's.
Feds found lots of time-stamped evidence that people were still working after hours and even on days off.
It ain't cool, bro.
Hourly, the business was heavily fined for every single violation and people got their stolen wages back. One of the people I hired a couple
By the way, let me fix my camera. What the fuck's wrong with it? Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. It was, yeah, no
couple
lag.
years back asked me what
The
time
fuck?
she was supposed to clock out for her shift. Part of the job is the cleanup after we close,
Yeah.
which can take a variable amount of
Yeah,
time
usually like an
depending on
hour.
how busy the place was that night, how much we need to restock, and so on. On Fridays and Saturdays, we usually don't get everybody out until 2:30 a.m. And cleanup
Jesus.
can take 2 hours. On a Monday,
Jesus.
we might start cleaning at 1:30 when the place empties out and be out of there by 2, so it really depends. After explaining that, she looked at me with a kind of sad expression and said okay, so clock out at 2:30 and then leave whenever I'm done. I actually helped her report her previous employer
What?
after that. She thought it was normal that you kept working after
What
clocking
the
out
fuck?
and had been doing it for about 3 years. I would probably
Jesus.
just smile at them all confused and laugh like what the F is that a joke? The second I'm off the clock I am vacating that
Exactly.
building post haste my friend. I will waste as little unpaid seconds of my time as possible
Yeah.
exiting the premises. I didn't
That was
quit,
me,
but it
bro.
was an
That was me. Five Guys. Clock out, bro. I'm already somewhere else. I teleport out of there.
interview many
Oh,
years
fuck.
ago. The position was for an admin assistant.
assistant.
I got to the place and it was in the back of a strip mall kind of, just a small parking lot and a forest. I go into interview and the guy tells me it is in fact not an admin position but an alarm system cold calling position. I immediately knew he was
What?
wasting my time and his but finished it out. He told me there would be a lot of evenings just him and I working. I don't think so. He also said that he loves to reward his team for good sales and always takes them to Mexico. I walked out and told my husband, BF at the time, There was no way I was taking that. I got a call for a second interview but never picked up the phone.
Bro,
So
these are very sus.
Young and
Yeah.
naive right out of college took a marketing job. My interview was great. Nothing shady seemed to be going on and no immediate red flags. After 4 hours of training, my first day consisted of going door to door in a suburban town trying to sell cable to older people. We were told to dress for business, so I'm hiking around for miles in my best skirt, suit jacket and heels. Hours were from 9-5 but we didn't get back to the business until well after 10 p.m. Not to mention, the person I was shadowing was able to make a sale to an older gentleman who seemed to have memory issues. I noped the F right out of there. Sounds like my 86-year-old dad with dementia. I cannot believe how many people businesses try and prey on him to sign him up to long-term contracts for things he doesn't need. It's also very obvious that he has memory issues and gets very confused very easily. It's like a constant battle to clean chase these things up. Thanks for having morals though.
Thank you for not being a piece of shit.
In their assistant manager training program. Had gotten hired right out of the army. First day I met with the store manager where I'd be working and training and noted that she
Quick thing, I've worked at McDonald's before as well, for a month in Bulgaria.
Spent majority of the time doing entry-level work and then working OT to do store manager work. She told me this was pretty common because of the type of people they'd hire. Her office was a counter and she told me she had bought her chair but corporate made her remove it. She was really nice, worked her A off and was intelligent and told me she'd been at McDonald's for 10 years. I imagined working my A off only to be told I couldn't have a chair and decided that night I wasn't going to work for a company like that.
Fair
In
enough,
electronics store, my first day we had to attend a class where they teach people how to upsell folks. Basically walked you through ignoring what they ask you for and using their ignorance of the equipment against them. I thought that was really scuzzy. Then they went on to tell us about a commission style bonus program that basically forced employees to upsell everyone. When we took the break for lunch that first day I peaced out and went home. Never got paid.
Why do people need... Okay, I don't understand. You see there's a piece of shit job. Why do people feel the need to be good to them? Just walk out, just stand up, make them feel uncomfortable. Make them feel uncomfortable. Fuck them, bro. Come on.
Paid for those 4 hours, but I never regretted bouncing on that. When the microwave in the lunchroom was coin activated. My first day.
What? Oh my
working
bro.
at Iggy Games. I was super excited to be there.
I don't know what
the
Iggy
first
Games
half
is.
of my shift was basically tidy up the shelves. It was a high traffic location so the shelves always need tidying. After 5 hours of following kids around and putting things away I go on break. When I come back my manager is standing in his strangely empty store absolutely aghast, staring at a huge steaming pile of shit on the carpeted floor. Apparently a homeless person had walked in. Without saying a single word he dropped trow and emptied his bowls. My boss at me and says, "Oh good, you're back."
Ah no!
Clean that up.
Bro, fuck that shit.
I laughed at him and told him you can't be serious. I'm not going near that. He responds with, "It's your job. I'm taking a break. I want it gone before I get back." I told he's going to have to deal with it on his own because I don't need this job that bad. So I quit. I grabbed my coat and went home. 1 week later the district manager calls me up to apologize and offer me my job back. Plot twist. The manager actually took the shit on the floor. It's the employee initiation. They hired me to work full time. I had interviewed to work full time. I was trying to quit a horrible job, and this job was on the other end of town. I needed enough money for the bus pass, and to make up the difference and more of quitting my old job, they hired me and showed me my schedule. I showed up for my first day. Things are going good. Then my manager called me in, sat me down, and explained that they'd have to cut me down to 15 hours a week because they'd hired too many effing people. I explained, painfully, that I had to take a bus an hour each way and wouldn't be able to pay rent or food after that. He said I could always hold out and hope people quit. I told him he could start with me. Took off my apron and stormed out in tears. I was hired at a chain restaurant to be a hostess. I was so excited because my last job was washing dishes and because of my eczema, I had to quit. It was too painful to do that job. So, I arrived at my new job dressed up to be a hostess and those mfos took me back to the kitchen to do dishes because the dishwasher just quit.
Bro, is this a normal occurrence? Where they hire you for some job in a restaurant and have you do dishes? That's not your fucking job. What the hell?
I noped out of there real fast. Worked in a hotel for a day. No one told me where anything was.
Damn.
Got chewed out for it. Guests enjoying their meals told me to pay no mind, I was doing a good job and that my boss is a C. I told the manager that I was quitting and wouldn't be doing the next shift. I arrived the next day, returning a work uniform, and my supervisor approached me and yelled at me for being
Bruh.
late.
Please tell me
I
you
told her
called
I
her
already quit, but if I was working, technically I was 5 hours early for my shift. Absolute nutcases.
Jeez.
It was a waitress gig for a local
Oh god,
restaurant.
another waitress
I
gig,
finished
Jesus.
my first day, then was told that training would continue for 6 weeks.
So-
While I
For being a waitress? 6? What? What kind of waitress are you? A nuclear waitress? What?
was in training, all of the tips I got had to be given to my
Oh,
trainer.
okay, that's what
I
they're
was
doing.
being paid less than $2 an hour. I called the next day and said it wasn't gonna work out. I
Bro, don't
technically
even
quit
call.
before my
Fuck 'em.
first day. I got hired at a well-known gift store. I was hired with the understanding that I would work Saturdays, Sundays, and a grand total of 8 hours a week. So 2 4-hour shifts.
Okay.
Also at minimum wage. Not a problem with me. Done that before. I would just pick up a part-time job for rest of the week. Nope. Apparently that wasn't allowed.
What's
The
not?
manager thought that was a horrible thing and disrespectful to her. I should only work for them and only them, and I should have better control over my money if I can't survive on $64 a week before taxes.
Ah.
Yeah, didn't show up cause F that noise. She called
What
pissed
the-
off that I wouldn't show up to such a opportunity. Had 2 interviews to work housekeeping at a hospital. Got a call the night of the second
People are
interview at around
insane.
midnight from the guy saying I was just so excited I wanted to call and tell you I'm gonna call you to offer you the job tomorrow. Should have taken that as the first red flag, but I needed the job. I go in for my first day of training and he has printouts of my Facebook wall and my boyfriend's. He started asking me how long we had been together and made it clear he knew everything so not to lie to him. It
Oi.
was so uncomfortable. I leave his office and do some training. We break for lunch and he sits with me in the cafeteria asking how it's been going so far, etc.
Bro.
Then tells me he expects to see me at his church Sunday. I haven't gone to church in like 10 years at this point.
So
We all have a quick meeting in our main room and I stay back after everyone had left. I put my badge, keys and walkie on the desk and walk the F out. I felt bad, but it was
Good.
no wonder
Why?
why they can't keep anyone. He called me 4 months afterwards asking what had happened. He was worried sick. He deserves answers. Blah blah blah. I had called their HR the day after I had walked out to tell them I quit and why, so they had to have told him. He had no reason to keep contacting me. My very first job
Bruh,
was at a
that's
little
weird as
drive-in
hell.
restaurant close to my high school. I showed up to work the first day. The lady said I had to pay her $50 for training.
What? What the fuck? That's the first time I hear anyone ask for money to be trained for a job. What?
She showed me around the place and said that my pay would be $4.50 an hour as a car hop. This was in 2010. And all the tips I made went into a bucket with all the other girls' tips.
Oh, it's one of those.
At the end of the night, she counted up tips, kept 20% for herself and split the rest up evenly among every employee. Also, part of our job was 1 day a week we had to spend 4 hours cleaning her house. It seemed super shady. I literally left
Yes.
after listening to her go over all these rules.
Yeah,
my dad was
good.
pissed until I explained. And another girl confirmed and my dad agreed I did the right thing. I went into orientation for a new job as truck driver. Obviously you know you will be away from home,
Yeah,
but this was
you're
time.
truck driver.
Out on the road 30 days at a time.
Damn.
Then only 36 hours. Or 1.5 days at home.
Damn.
You only work 6 out of 7 days.
Damn.
So 4 of those days you just sit at the
Better
truck
pay you
stop
good.
unable to move, and not getting paid. Can't bring a pet of any type. So I would only be home 18 days a year. On the road for 347 days a year, and unpaid for 52 of them. The no pets rule was the final straw for me. I will not be out 30 days alone with no little friend to keep me sane. I noped out of there.
Jeez.
When at
How
the
goes the
daily
cash
meeting,
for
a
that
manager
job?
said if they found out who put a paper bag with human excrement in her employee's locker, It's good you got out of there before they found out you did it.
Bah.
My very first job was at a buffet restaurant that was popular with senior citizens and known
Okay.
for their desserts.
Alright.
I was asked to get another coconut cream pie from the back, and as I was getting it out of the fridge, another employee bumped into me and I dropped it on the floor, pie side down. This employee's someone who'd worked there for years.
Oh.
Solution was,
Oh, you disgusting piece of shit. Oh, that hurts. Oh, bro, come on. That's not, no. I've worked in places like this. I've worked in buffet airlines. No, bro, no. What the fuck?
to just scrape off all the whipped topping and replace it. I was horrified they served pie that had been on the extremely dirty floor and never went back.
Hey, listen. Okay, we don't know if they know though. That's the thing. We don't know if they know though.
Time
Might just be
gig in
him.
Raleigh, NC
Recur.
when I was young and desperate for a job. Any job. Came in to relieve the cigarette hag overnight lady who told me about the
Cigarette
bag
hag.
she kept beneath the counter. Which rooms had the prostitutes and which rooms were for the genuinely lost tourists. How not to give out towels to certain people because they had 10 plus people to a room and they were trying to get them to leave. While she was talking to me, one of the prostitutes came up and paid her with sweaty boob money. Also they expected me to do laundry in the back room in between babysitting the front desk. Also to watch out for stray needles or paraphernalia in the sheets. I overheard a man in the lobby on the phone talking about how he had a friend who was in jail and he was going to hire him to kill his cousin who was in that same jail. All in between lots of bargain bin Fruit Loops from the continental breakfast. I left. They never sent me my check for working that day and I never called to get it.
Yeah.
I honestly thought you meant she had a bat under the desk for like 2 minutes. I was a cashier at this cafeteria for a large company in my town. The people that worked at the company would put their tips in a bucket and the people made a lot of money, so there was like 10s and 20s. The manager of the cafe wouldn't let me have any of tips because she said that cashiers couldn't be trusted, so she would ship the tip money to a church in El
What?
Paso. I immediately knew that this was a load of bullshit and I just never went back. It's also illegal, I think,
fuck?
to collect money for one thing but do something else with it without disclosing what it is
probably.
for. It is in fact illegal. It's called wage theft. A restaurant by me just paid a $15,000 settlement for doing sh like this.
Deserved.
Second
Fuck 'em.
day actually, but the person who was training me at a McDonald's during the summer in college was so inconsistent and would like forget about me. Second day she asked me what time it is. I pointed out the wall clock and said the time. She goes, oh, I can't read them fancy clocks. Made me sad more than anything.
Yeah, that's pretty much a decent amount of people at these fast food joints. Like, nah, I'm not even joking. I've worked there.
I grew up
they
in a
hire
very
everyone.
rural, poor area, but also I realized that she wasn't having an off day with her shtai training and would be my supervisor.
Yes.
Didn't go back my third day.
That's how it be, bro.
Ended up being a scam to try and get free labor. I went for a job interview as a security guard. A man and a woman asked me my name, asked me how strong I was, then hired me and asked me to start immediately. That started alarm
Sus.
bells ringing. Took questions in her interview and I am employed and working with no discussion about anything
Yeah.
else. They took me down to their warehouse. Office interview was above it and told me to start moving boxes from a shelf into a truck. I said hang on. The job is security, not manual labor, and then they started getting really shty with me and saying if you want the job then you need to do this as part of it. I was like yeah, now I am out and walked out.
Good
Total
boy.
scam. There
Good
was no
boy.
job and it really pissed me off because I could have gone to another interview at that time
Damn.
but choose to go there instead.
Damn. Alright, this was cool. This was cool. I like this one. What y'all think? Let me know about your shitty job situations that you've encountered in life. I assume most older people have some of these. Like, most of these happen to you when you're too young to know better. At least that's what happened to me. I've had some jobs that if it was me now, I'd never fucking go back there. Never in a million years. But when you're younger, first job, second job, you're like, yo, I don't know shit. Let me just do this shit, you know? But yeah, shit, you grow out of it real quick, brother. Anyway, I'll see y'all next time. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Quick thank you to YouTube members and Patreons. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a nice day, everybody. Bye-bye.